It's Sunday, so we get the morning to rest and relax. I get up late, around 8 a.m., and head out to the chow hall for breakfast. My Nicaraguan friends see me coming and bring out fresh eggs and refried beans. It's good to have friends in high places. I fill up my plate, grab a bottle of Tabasco, and sit down with my posse. I only wish my Spanish was better. On the way out of the chow hall, a guy stops me and tells me a pair of mercs are going on patrol to locate the grave of the martyrs. I want to go. The grave is supposedly located between our base and the city of Najaf, which is 100 miles south of Baghdad. Najaf is a small city of 600,000. It's the third holiest city in Shia Islam and the center of political power for the Shia Muslims in Iraq. In the center of the city is the Imam Ali Mosque, which to Hadith is one of the 5 definite holy places. The reason for the mosque's holy status is it houses the remains of the second most important figure in Islam, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Shia's first caliph and the reason for the Shia-Sunni schism. Ali was Muhammad's cousin and first male convert to Islam, and according to the Shia, the rightful successor and first caliph. The Sunnis disputed the succession and thus the split between the two. Shias make up 60% of Iraq's population, the Sunnis 20%, and the Kurds 17%. Saddam's minority Sunni Ba'athist political party came into power in 1968 and suppressed all political, religious, and ethnic opposition. When the Iranian Shia leader Ayatollah Khomeini was exiled in 1964, he fled to Najaf. Khomeini quickly gained the support from Iraq's Shia population, shown in red on this map, and urged for the overthrow of Saddam Hussein. The Ayatollah Khomeini was expelled from Iraq in 1978 by Saddam and moved to France, then back to Iran. 2 years later, Iraq and Iran were at war. On March 19, 2003, coalition forces launched its air offensive against Saddam, bombing Baghdad, the center of Ba'athist and Sunni political and religious power. The Najafians saw an opportunity to overthrow Saddam and rose up. The Iraqi army quickly put down the uprising, captured the fighters, put them in a dump truck, drove them out into the desert, and supposedly buried them alive. The patrol I volunteered to tag along with was the first attempt by coalition forces to find the mass grave and report back its location. I am told my team is made up of recently discharged Special Forces guys, so their skills are still honed. And now they hire out and work for the private military company Blackwater Security Consulting, which changed its name to Academy after the September 16, 2007 firefight known as the Blackwater Baghdad shooting. We hop into our new Ford F-150, and I'm told to roll down the windows so as to minimize glass shrapnel if we hit an IED. We drive off base and head out into the Syrian desert. When you think of desert, this is what you think of: sand as far as the eye can see. After about 2 hours of slow 4x4 off-road driving, we reach the edge of the escarpment. The literal edge between the hot, dry, barren Syrian desert and Mesopotamia's wet, lush, fertile crescent. We get out of the truck and scan the desert with our binoculars. I stop and it slowly sinks in, the surreal and the vastness of the landscape before me. We walk to the edge of the escarpment and look down. It's a box canyon, also known as a wadi in Arabic, which is riddled with small hidden caves perfect for insurgents hiding out from patrols. We scan the cliffs for footpaths leading to caves, which would show recent activity. We find a path and shoot a few rounds into the cave to wrestle up and flush out any prey. One of the merc wants a closer look and walks along the edge of the cliff. I get a chill up my spine. I suddenly feel very vulnerable and exposed. He walks around and peers down the ledge, contemplating whether or not to try to climb down. We radio him and tell him not to be stupid and to come on back. In the distance, we spot mounds and read reports stating the mass graves were located near them to hide the location. We jump into the truck and drive along the escarpment to find a better vantage point and get a better look. We spot something unusual, a road leading out into the desert and to several of the sand mounds. The mercs tell me to stay behind and watch the truck as they walk towards the edge of the cliff to get a better look. It's hard to discern if what we are looking at is a dried out stream bed or a fairly new and used road. We conclude it's a road and decide to give it a more thorough visual inspection. We hop back into our truck, tracking the road for orientation as we slowly and carefully drive along the edge of the cliff. I sit back in my seat and look out into the desert. It's so big, so vast, and so desolate that my brain can't process it. I just stare at it in awe. There are no roads, so we lock in the four-wheel drive and slowly drive cross-country across the sand, occasionally getting bogged down. After 2 hours, we finally see the mounds and the suspected mass grave. We radio in and report our discovery to base. Base tells us to plug the coordinates and to stay at least a click away so as not to destroy evidence. We radio back our acknowledgement and slowly drive around the suspected grave, curious to get closer and verify if it is indeed the mass grave of the Najaf uprising. Since we can't get any closer and we don't see anything, we double back on our tracks in the sand and head on back to base. We get to the perimeter of the base, which is fenced off with concertina wire, but headquarters is still many clicks away. We drive over a sand berm, get out of the truck, and scan the horizon, doing a quick assessment of the landscape. We spot something. A small group of men have cut the wire and crossed over into the base. One of the mercs raises his weapon, targets, and puts a bead on the group. We are on the outside, and the group is on the inside. The merc fires several rounds to flush them further into the base. We radio in the breach and get orders to intercept and pin them down till reinforcements arrive. The mercs assess the situation, jump out of the truck, and start running towards the group. One of the merc covers and orders the men to sit down while the other merc crosses the fence to check out what they are hauling. The merc yells back, "They're packing 120s." which means they are stealing 120mm projectiles to turn into IEDs to kill coalition forces. One of the men in the group, the one wearing the red scarf, suddenly reaches for something in his jacket. At that point, the merc lifts up his weapon, points it at the man, and yells at him to stop, or I'll shoot. The man wearing the tan jacket starts yelling, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, at the top of his lungs and points at something in the distance. One of the mercs looks back at me and yells, "Turn off the fucking camera," which I promptly do. Reinforcements come and take the men into custody. I later hear they were handed over to the Nicaraguans who interrogated them. The cart and the donkey were confiscated and the men were sent to a detention center as insurgents. It's been a long and exhausting day, and I am glad to be back on base and in the chow hall and in the company of friends. My day is over, so I wind down and relax, taking in a little bit of the Christmas spirit. December 23rd, I wake up at 4 a.m. and get ready for the long and dangerous journey back to Baghdad. My team and I are tired, but happy at what we've accomplished at Najaf. It's amazing how close you get to your teammates in war. You literally become brothers. The drive back to Baghdad is 106 miles, and considering the winter road conditions, we estimate it will take about 4 hours. Since I'm a technical and not a security private military contractor authorized to carry a weapon, I am designated driver. Contrary to popular belief, winter in the desert is wet, very wet, and the sand and the dust turn into a slippery mud. We have to drive through the center of Najaf and get caught in a traffic jam. As we are stopped, a group of men carrying AK-47s approach us. I am scared shitless. The mercs are all raising their weapons and I am bracing to be riddled with bullets. At that moment, the traffic jam clears and I step on the gas. I can't believe we averted a confrontation. We are all tense and no one talks till we are safely back in Baghdad and in the green zone.